paperwork and as when you write notes in medical delivery. And he founded this based on the gap he's seen, right? So he will walk us through some of the use case there. Then we'll ask some questions and go to Dr. Minya Tadessa Boltena, who's in Ethiopia, a digital health leader, but also a research scientist, and really how some of the solutions he leads the AI hub within the AI Innovation Lab at the Armware Hansen Research Institute, ARI, in Ethiopia, where he advances ethical, explainable, and scalable AI technologies in clinical setting and public health. How you've been asking, some audience have asked, what are some of the tools that are there for us to really accelerate training within clinical service while they're addressing service gaps? So both of them have exciting use cases to share with us. I really want to give them voice around their journeys, and then we can explore how we think such solutions can be scalable, how they're relevant to education, specifically in training, and how they address some of the barriers specifically in Africa. So Dr. Toby, I haven't, Olato Jundi, I'm sorry about that, but if you can I give you the panel, the voice first? Please introduce yourself a little bit more and tell us about your intro on health. Thank you.
Yep. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay,
go ahead.
Great. Thank you. Trying to share my screen. Is that possible? Yeah. Yes. Let's do this one. Okay. 1 second. Let's do that. It should work.
I can read a bit of your bio actually in the meantime because it's so impressive. if I can. So, over the past decade, he's worked as a machine learning scientist at Amazon Web Services, Analytic Incorporation, and Cambia Health Solutions. And he's consulted for various startups and healthcare institutions in the US and across Africa. He holds 3 US technology patents, and he's a member of the Commonwealth Artificial Intelligence Consortium. So really humbled for his journey. And he's the research director at BioRamp Labs. So he currently sits on the advisory board of the Open Notes Lab at Harvard Medical School and Beth Israel Dickinson Medical Center. And he also serves as a technical advisor to the Blatz Vanik Institute of Global Health and Social Medicine. So Toby, over to you, please.
Oh, thank you very much. Let's get into it. I think we've gone over a bit of my background, so no need to go over that again. Just to set the context for my talk, I will start here. I think one of the problems we observed is as many hospitals try to transition from paper-based records to electronic, and many institutions try to implement digital health tools. I think we've noticed across the board that they run into some important problems. So let's say I'm a doctor at a public hospital. I'm seeing 40, 50 patients a day. My hospital was trying to deploy some digital health tool. That requires that I will have to start to enter my notes on a computer. What then happens is that if I'm seeing 50, 60 patients a day, that means that if you hand me a laptop or whatever device you want me to type 40, 50 pages of notes every single day, in addition to my already busy job when I'm already closing work at 4, 5, 6, 7 p.m. And at many hospitals, that is just not going to work because people are already overworked, and you're adding a new layer of 30, 40 pages to their work. And so many doctors, nurses also are not very great with the keyboard. Maybe if you're using your phone, many people can type very fast, but when it comes to the keyboard, people slow down quite a bit. So I already have like a 60 patients like waiting out the door. I'm trying to look for X, semicolon, hyphen, and all that. The entire day is gone. And what eventually happens is that frustration, that those delays mount up, and people usually push back against digital health tools. So anybody can make a big announcement that they are going digital, they're doing this big project, but when it really gets to the frontline workers, the doctors, nurses, they usually push back a lot because the tools actually slow them down. And so most times they just stop using it and go back to paper. Or if you force them to use it, they will just either copy paste something or give you like 2, 3 lines of notes. That's it. So you can't complain that they're not using the tool. They are, but you're just getting 2 lines of notes. And so your entire like investment in the whole process, buying software, buying hardware, buying laptops, running cables, getting fiber, internet, that whole like $1 million project just wastes at the point because nobody planned for data entry. I think the other key piece is that we actually did a study on this across I think 15 countries actually, and looked at the compared the speed of clinicians when they're using the keyboard versus when they're speaking, and you can see there's a world of difference, 4 to 5x speed improvement when people speak versus when they use the keyboard. And so this definitely led us to create what today is the first medical scribe voice dictation tool for healthcare that's actually designed to work with African accents and African languages. And so we've spent the last 3+ years building models, deploying to hospitals across Africa. Okay, and just some of the work we've done across six countries, several healthcare partners, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Rwanda, and just working with several types of organizations within health and outside of health. Okay, and so just to wrap up, there's beyond just like outpatient nodes, we also build tools for like surgeons. So specific tools that work for surgeons while you are in the operating room, you are able to narrate your notes, dictate, and then this system is able to generate a post-op note by the time you scrub out. And this is the first like surgical post-op notes use case in the world that we built, and the system also works for people with who speak with heavy accent. So this is a tool that can be deployed across the world. Okay, beyond just medical, that's that's just like doctors, nurses. Also, we're also supporting community health workers, and this is a project we did with the Gates Foundation and Pathway. We're looking at how community health workers can use AI. One of the really interesting things we did as part of the study is to look at how they use AI with speech, like if they were doing their record keeping with voice versus if they were just typing. Because I think many community health workers, they're given tablets or phones to just enter data, and nobody knows how much information is lost by using forms and text-based interfaces. As one of the key outcomes of this study was to look at when they use voice, when you just record, how much longer and richer is the information that they're able to provide. Okay, and of course we've multiple success stories with hospitals within Nigeria, across Africa. I'll end by talking about challenges because it's definitely not been an easy journey. It's a lot easier to deploy AI to hospitals in the US and the UK because everyone speaks English. and I mean majority, I mean 90% of your patients, doctors speak English. However, within Africa, almost every country I've visited, the conversation between doctor and the patient is almost, I don't think you have maybe 50% in some cases that are English, or within the same conversation, people switch languages. Uganda, I mean, it's same everywhere. And then within the same hospital, you don't even have just one language. You have some patients that's speak some language, doctors that come from different parts of the country. So there's a huge accent diversity within the hospital, and then even the patient languages are different. And once you have that much diversity, it just leads to more mistakes. The AI needs to be trained specifically to work in those different contexts, and sometimes you have errors with medical vocabulary. One major issue we've seen with many of the global models by whatever Google OpenAI is mistakes with like African names, because African names are pretty complex. They usually would make a lot of mistakes here. Whereas we've seen a lot of issues with hallucinations, particularly where there's background noise or where multiple people are speaking at the same time, or maybe another doctor or nurse is speaking in the background, or even when there's just silence. Maybe someone was recording, and then maybe someone came in, they paused, and the system is still recording. Then you start to see like hallucinations during that period of silence. I think just many practical issues we faced. The spelling correction that works very well on your phone when you use it in a real life like medical situation, sometimes it also adds errors. And I think there's issues about people expecting the system to be very fast, but not understanding all the challenges that it takes to deploy such a solution. My last slide, I would talk about maybe just privacy and regulatory issues. One of the main problems we face, I'll just start 2 or 3 of these points. People automatically just believe that voice AI is not going to work for them. And that's like a huge barrier already in their minds. Maybe because everybody knows that Siri, Alexa, they never understand you. You ask them for something simple, they do something else. And so many people have had bad experiences with Google Voice and all that. And they just by default believe that's not going to work. One of the very interesting things we found in terms of like privacy with using voice in African hospitals is that we usually hear complaints from even doctors saying, okay, if I use this voice thing, it means if I'm doing my notes, I have to speak out loud. It means somebody else can be hearing how I'm thinking about this case. So will my colleagues judge me when they hear me thinking about dictating my notes? For example, if I'm a junior doctor, or for doctors and patients. Okay, so I've seen the patients and I want to dictate my notes. Some doctor is concerned, hey, if I'm saying the patient has stage 3 cancer, do I really want them to hear what I'm saying? Can't I just do my typing silently and nobody knows? And even patient-to-patient privacy issues. Patients are complaining. Some of them are even concerned that why you recording my voice? Like, are you going to go and play this audio somewhere else where you'll expose my issues? Or if you ask me to speak louder so that the microphone can record my voice, is the next patient in the next room going to be able to hear me? So just many interesting privacy concerns with voice. Even very, very funny things like just the presence of a microphone in the room. People are already very cautious. And I think one of the major concerns we faced is just the issue of regulation, data sovereignty. A country insists that health data must not go to the cloud. So your AI solution was hosted locally. But the said country does not have any GPUs. They don't have any large-scale data center that can handle like large-scale workloads. You already have over 1,000 hospitals. How do you want to support like AI models locally for maybe 1 million patients across the country? And so these are just practical concerns